I haven't made a friend in over 10 plus years. And this is not stemming out from a place of neediness. This is stemming from a place of self awareness and knowing the fact that friendships these days are superficial. And the more you get older, you start realizing that friendships are really, really just shallow. They are not as deep as it is meant to be. There is no ride or die. There is no five and six. There is nobody there for you, actually, really there for you. Because it's you now see that it turns out to just be a chaotic mess, a thing of competition, endless competition and rivalry that doesn't even make sense. This is someone you're supposed to go to a battle with and do things together. But it turns out that you become the competition or the competitor. That or it turns out, yes, it turns out to be a competition at the end of the day and not a brother in arm that you go to war or you go to battle with. It becomes a fierce competition between you and your so-called friend. And then you realize how shallow things are, how people are very selfish with their own desires and all that. And why it's becoming like this? Because it's like the older I get, the harder it is for me to even have friends. Because for me right now, it's easier to cut through the noise and see people for who they actually are without even wasting time. We cut all through the bullshit and all the roundabouts and all all the plays that would people would masquerade as if they are good people when they present themselves to you, and you cut all through that bullshit and just hit the mark. You know who that person is immediately, because there are countless of people I have seen in my small bubble, and they have tried to start an interaction or just wanting us to have a cordial interaction, and over time I cut through the noise and I see that this person is just pure evil. This person is actually just a snitch. This person is just a someone that will betray you along the way. And backpedaling back to some of the discussions I had with one of my friends at the time, where he told me it's not a matter of having the same interest, because most times as men we tend to bond and make friends out of having similar interests, because the person might have similar interests but the person is a terrible person, a very bad person. The person doesn't is not good, doesn't have character and values that are cohesive with what you believe in or consistent with the ideologies that you run with. And you start, and aside the interests, the common interests you guys have, you guys might be working in the same working place, you guys might love to watch sports, you guys might be doing whatever, but that does not mean that the person is worth being a friend, because they might have you might have similar interests with that person, but that person doesn't have your back. Then you start seeing how shallow friendships are. You start seeing it as you get older. Then it becomes harder. Your cycle gets smaller and tighter, and you start finding out that you become picky. It's not everybody that can come into your space and resonate on the same frequency that you are. Most times people come close to you and they get intimidated. Most times people come close to you just because they want something from you. And then you start asking yourself, what's the concept of help? What's the concept of assisting someone for something? Because once you don't do that for them, you don't assist them, or probably you are not buoyant enough to help them. Then you see their true colors. Then you realize they start ghosting you and all that. Because I recall someone who I used to call my friend at the time. And the last call I heard from that dude was, can I borrow him so and so amount of money? I was like, bro, I don't have this amount of money at the time. And that was the last time I ever heard from him. But I'm very sure he's stalking me, watching my page, seeing what my status, seeing what I'm posting and all that. But he has never ever since then. And me, I feel energy. I'm that type of person that once I realize that the energy has dropped, and it's like the person or the so-called friend wants me to chase, I cut it. Because I'm not the type of person that would chase for a relationship or chase for a friendship. Because when you get to understand your worth as a person, friendship starts to take a different form and a different identity. You see friendship differently than what people would perceive friendship to be when you come to realize who you are. So when you put all these things together, you realize that the quality of friendship you want is not easily attainable. It takes time, it takes a lot of filtering. Because the people that will come to you would come because probably you are shiny. In that sense, you have a shiny personality, and people just like being attracted to anything that is shiny, especially here in Africa. And I know it's everywhere, but I'm just specifically talking about what happens here. People are always after the shiny objects, shiny cars, shiny jewelries, anything. And you have a shiny personality, people would want to, or you are sort of attractive, people will want to just associate with you. Just because there are things that comes with people who have shiny personalities or attractive personalities. There are things that come with it, opportunities that come with it. So people tend to attach themselves to you just for the sake of what they will get from you. And I've realized it's so life is. And then you start questioning certain quotes or Bible verses where it said iron sharpeneth iron. Because for me, I believe friendship should be like that, where there should be a mutual vision. There should be a mutual vision. And then you see that it's not like that. It's much more like a parasitic relationship or friendship, and which is not sustainable, which is never sustainable. So because one person doesn't have the capacity to provide for something or do something, doesn't mean you have to look down on them and just cut them off. Does it? Because it's more like looking down on them. You ghost the person, and you just, because the person can't help at that moment. And it's crazy. It's crazy. It tells you the quality of character or the character of that person in question who decides just to ghost because your so-called friend can't do a certain thing for you at that moment. You just decide to ghost the person, cut the person off. The person is probably not in your level anymore because you have upgraded and stuff like that. So it's been hard for me, like for over 10 plus years right now. And I don't think I'm open to that idea of having friends right now until I see someone who is worth dying for. Because at the end of the day, we as men, we understand the concept of love and we can die for anybody, because that's one of the mantle God has given every man, to become an embodiment of love. But this is just a side discussion. So a friendship that should lead to brotherhood, a friendship that should be so close, a friendship that should have depth and not just surface level interaction. where you know posterity will also be involved, your kids will be involved because of the friendship you have built with someone. Your generation will be involved with this person's generation. It's not just for now. We are building for the future. We are building to make life better. But everybody is in survival mode. I'm also in survival mode. If I'm being honest, I'm also in survival mode. And that's why it's tough. When you're in a survival mode, it's tough. Because you see a lot of rubbish. You see a lot of things. You see a lot of fake people who are claiming to be your friend. And they are just there for their own selfish goals and selfish needs. They are not even interested in you. And it's crazy. It's the world we live in. And that's why most men, friendships these days are very, very hard to make. Especially if you are someone who is self-aware. It's very hard to make friends. Very hard to make friends. Because it's tough. Even the people that say they have friends, there's a lot of hatred, background hatred going on, endless competition going on amongst themselves. They might know, they might not know, but it's happening in the world we find ourselves. A friend should be like a brother who is willing to go to war with you, who is willing to break bread with you without malice, or without backstabbing you, or without jealousy, and the person breaks bread with you happily because you are his brother in arm. Because this world is a battleground, a battlefield, where you need a partner, a friend to rely on. But it's tough to find people who would stand by your side and face life challenges. It's tough. Most times you are isolated as a man to do it on your own, carry the weight on your shoulders alone. And sometimes you find yourself isolated because there is a need for you to be consecrated. There's a need for you to walk that journey alone, because divinity has made it that majority of people will never understand your vision. Majority of people will not be able to walk together with your personality. And a lot of people might not comprehend the giftings that you have as a man. And they are left with just being a solo adventurer, a solo visioneer, doing it on your own, or with the assistance of a divine being, with the assistance of God, with the assistance of God. So when you look at all these things, you start realizing that even when your circle is so little to nothing, it shows that the calling on your head, on your life, is huge. It's a walk you have to walk alone. And over time you realize you keep dropping friends are just ghosting you, losing friends, and before you know it, you look back, and you look around, you don't have anybody. We are all called. It's just that most times some people lose a lot of friends and they don't understand the reason why why they have to lose a lot of friends to be able to make significant impact in their generation, make significant impact on earth. They don't understand that. So but over time you realize that as you get self-aware and connect to your roots, connect to divinity, you start to realize that it's deeper than just friends leaving you. There's a calling that is separating you from the rest of the world, because most times you see people who just want to come together and just be somehow agreeable with themselves, but you see there's something about you that makes you different. and you have to walk this walk alone with little or no friends. And that's one thing I've come to realize, and I've accepted that's my fate, and that's the fate of some people as well. So it's tough. Over 10 plus years of no friends. It's tough, but it's the life that chose us. So that's it, guys. We'll speak in the next video. Have a great day and stay blessed. Thank you for listening, and thank you for giving me your time. I appreciate it. So have a great day, guys. Bye.